Okie dokie. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, finally.
I know, I've missed you. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. How's your holiday?
My holiday was good. I needed the break. But do you know what? It was really good. And coming back and being able to throw myself back in was the best.
You say throw yourself back in. You weren't switched off, really, were you?
No, right. You said this. You said I didn't
You were posting. You were doing things with peacocks.
I know, because Phoebe did say to me, have you seen my weekly?
Yes.
You've got to watch the weekly. Halfway through, I didn't know Phoebe had put herself in it. And I was watching it the other day and she was like, if Abby forgets to film anything, I am so sorry.
Right, so it's Phoebe's fault.
But I remembered to film. But no, it was good. Have you got anywhere booked this year? Or?
I don't do holidays.
You don't do holidays?
No, unfortunately, when I was younger, we were a typical Asian family and all my holidays were back in Pakistan.
Okay.
So I don't really see the value of travel. I don't really go anywhere.
Do you know what that's like? Animals. You don't
What
see
do
the
you
value
mean?
in animals either,
Animals
do you?
migrate, don't they?
No, but you're not a big cat and dog fan.
I don't like animals. Very irrational fear of dogs. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And cats are just weird, aren't they?
You're speaking to the biggest cat
Yeah,
person
unfortunately.
in the world. If I was to say to you, would you look after my cat? What would you say?
No, as much as I like you, I would not look after your cat.
Would you not?
No.
You'd make me stick in a cattery?
Yeah, or get a cat sitter. Like, is that a thing?
It would. Anyway,
Yeah.
the viewers are like, what? Okay, so obviously this is now the Abigail podcast as opposed to Where's Shaz. But so the viewers know a little bit more about you, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. So I am Shaz. I am a mortgage broker. I have my own mortgage brokerage in South Wales. And we work with property investors who want to start, scale and grow their portfolios to make money from property.
Perfect. Amazing. And how did we meet?
How did we meet? So you interviewed Zoe Trigwell.
Yeah.
She's been on my podcast. And when she was on yours, I was like, it's way better than what I did. So I was straight in the DMs going, that is amazing. I think we just connected from there. Really,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It was crazy because we connected it was the first episode of the New Era podcast. So the very first episode I met you and now here we are today.
You met me 3 days later. You were in Birmingham at an event.
Yeah.
And yeah, here we are.
And here we are today. I know. Speaking of events, are we going to plan an event?
If you have the time, Abigail.
Of course. We always have the time. Okie dokie. Right, I'm going to try and stick to these questions so we don't go off on a proper tangent. So how did you get started in your industry?
Luck by chance. So when I was, in my youth.
In your youth?
In my youth.
You are youthful.
I'm youthful at heart. So I started off working for corporate banks like Barclays, Lloyds, call centre jobs, which is where I'm from. Everyone does that. You start in the call centres.
Yeah.
I really had no ambition and I was comfortable and it was mundane looking back, but I wouldn't have done anything different. I think what happened was it got me redundant and that made me think, let's think a bit bigger, let's think different.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went into this specialist field, which is so much more enjoyable because people value me and not Barclays or Lloyds. It's Shaz.
So what inspired you to go into this field then?
I enjoy serving people. I enjoy working with people. I think we are here to serve and be valuable. And I think for me, if I can help people, that's one of my tick boxes.
Amazing. So how long have you been in the industry then?
Overall, like 10 years, but working with specialist kind of people 4-5 years now.
So when you actually went into the industry, did you go alone straight away?
No, I was employed for a specialist company for about 11 months.
Okay.
Got sacked. Wasn't great, I'll be honest, but that was like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Got sacked. I remember sitting in my car thinking, what on earth has just happened? Like, am I going to call my mum now and say I've been sacked from a job? Like, these things don't happen to me. What on earth? And that made me realise that I wouldn't want to have a job again. Yeah. And that's when I went self-employed. So I've been self-employed for 4 years, but I've had a business in between. I had a burger restaurant. Have I told you about this?
Right, you've briefly mentioned this, but I want you to expand more on it.
So through the redundancy, obviously I had 6 months garden leave, had money coming in, and my brother-in-law, his businesses are restaurants and takeaways. So I was like, hey man, there's like a gap in the market here for like a halal burger restaurant in Newport in South Wales, the best city in the world. Yeah. And he was like, look, I'm happy to support you, but you got to do it with us because you're doing nothing. Yeah. Because you're redundant. I was like, okay, great. Not knowing I'll be doing finance in a couple of months. And it was great. So it was my little baby, my passion project. I did the menus, the logos, the layering of the burgers. Yeah. I was cooking, I was doing deliveries. We had staff, but I was doing everything anyway. But eventually it became too much because I was doing mortgages and burgers. I'd be in the restaurant on my laptop doing deals. It just wasn't making sense. Oh eventually.
My God. So how long did you have the burger restaurant for?
I was involved for 2.5 years.
And what did you do?
Award-winning.
Award-winning burger restaurant.
Multi-award-winning.
Multi-award-winning.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened then? What happened with the business?
So I sold my share back to them. So we left amicably. I was like, guys, look, it's not working for me. I can't give the time here because I'm traveling everywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. So, I just want to give it back to you guys.
What did you learn the most from running a business like that?
That the customer is not always right. You just have to make them feel like they're right.
Do you know what? That I learned that in my first job.
Yeah.
I remember being like, oh, the customers. And they were like, the customers aren't always right.
No.
And it is a true thing. Was it fast-paced?
It was fast-paced, but also it was a lot of just people-based interaction, which I like. I enjoy working with people, but it was a lot of people just not getting it. Like, I think the main issue was when we started doing deliveries after lockdown.
Yeah.
People just didn't want to come back into the restaurant. They wanted deliveries.
I see. Do you know what it is? It's so different what you're doing now to a burger restaurant.
It isn't it? Isn't it? Still people, isn't it? For me, what I look like there is just people and sales.
Yeah, amazing. So what do you see, where do you see yourself, say, in 10 years' time?
10 years' time?
Yeah.
That's a long time horizon. I think in 10 years, I will probably not be as much as I am in the business. I'll probably still be traveling around, generating business, but I wouldn't be actually brokering. I'll be like around, yeah. I have no big plans to go to Dubai or anything because that's just not one of my things. Staying here, yeah.
Have you been to Dubai?
Yeah.
I've never been to Dubai.
You should go. I've been twice. Once when I was on 20 grand a year. Didn't like it at all because what can you do? Once when I was earning a bit more and that was more enjoyable.
What would you say to me? Because I've had a few people say this on the podcast about when people have gone out and they've got normal jobs and they go to Dubai and they absolutely hate it. Because
you can't do anything whilst you're there. Everything is quite expensive. You can still have a holiday.
Yeah.
But it's one of those, if you want to, it depends what you're going for. If you're going just to enjoy it as a holiday, you could probably make it work. But if you want to go there to network and grow your business, see the right people, then you have to have a set of money to get in the right circles.
To get into the right places. Yeah, no, I get that. Okay, so throwing it back to Where's Shaz?
Yes, Where's Shaz? Everywhere.
What is Where's Shaz?
So that's just my Instagram handle. But that came about because when I went first one self-employed, I had no clients. I had no brand recognition. I had no money. I had nothing, no hope. So for me, it was like, I need to go all in on this networking thing.
Yeah.
Travel to every event. So I'm from Wales, but I'd be traveling to Cardiff, which is in Wales, Birmingham, London. For like 6 months, I was at every single event. And then the joke became, oh, where's Shaz today? Where's Shaz? So I thought, let's run with that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's not tied to finance specifically. So if in the future I want to do something different, it still works. It's
interesting. And I think it makes you stand out as well because it's not just your name.
It's also quite annoying because now I go to some events and everyone's like, found you.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because then at least people know you by a tagline. Like you are a tagline. Okay, so obviously the way we met was through networking.
Yes.
So you're a big networker. What are some of the biggest things you've learned when it comes to networking?
Okay, first thing or one thing is to first of all figure out what value you're going to add to the person you're trying to speak to.
Yeah.
So don't try and take anything from them, but understand how can you help them in any way, or is there any shared kind of value there? One thing I tend to do is I like being the plug. You might have noticed this, is I'll introduce people to other people.
You do.
Just connect people together.
You're so good at it.
I'm good at it. And what it does, it takes the heat off of me having to have a conversation. So I'm like, hey, speak to so-and-so and I'll leave you guys to it. And I'll do it. And that works as a bit of a crutch. If you're nervous or anxious, you do that. It's easier. The other thing I do a lot of is pre-networking.
Okay.
So these days on social media, you can see who's going to go to what event because they post stuff beforehand. Well, message those people. Say, hey, Jack, I can see you're going to go to this event next week. So am I. What do you do? This is what I do. Great to see you at the event. You've broken the ice. You do it to 5 people. Suddenly you're going to be a bit more comfortable going there.
That's such a good tip.
Pro tip.
That is such a good tip because when you asked me to come to that event in Birmingham, I remember thinking I have never been to a networking event on my own before. I was so nervous. And do you remember little Aaron?
Cute little Aaron.
He's
only a year younger than you.
Yeah, no, I just feel like his nan. No, but he was at the bottom of the lift and I was like, at the escalator, sorry, and I was like, are you lost? He wasn't lost. He was not lost. I was lost.
Yeah.
He was like, no. I said, oh, me too. He never even said he was lost. It's so I clung to him and then now we're really good friends as well.
He's lovely, but that's it. I mean, but imagine before the event, if you had a bit of notice, because that was last minute, you could have messaged a few people, messaged the organisers, and it would have been a lot more easier for you to come in. Yeah. Even if you didn't know anyone.
I wouldn't have even thought to do that though.
No.
I genuinely wouldn't have thought to do that. I would have just turned up and been like, hello.
But and the other thing I would say is if you are going to go to these events, is don't be that person who just sits on your phone doing nothing, because there's no way you waste your travel, waste your ticket price, and you get nothing out of it.
Yeah, I think you need to go in with an open mind and literally just speak to everyone, regardless of how nervous you are, and just go for it.
And if you want to leave conversations, I find that's the hardest part. I find is to leave in a conversation, because people just want to talk and talk and talk, which is great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, just be honest. Say, listen, Abigail, love to chat. I'd love to chat with you afterwards.
Yeah.
But just so we can make the most of our time. Can we just now, like,
leave me alone.
Network and see,
no,
see
I
other
get
people in the room.
I get you. I think that is a big one, because you can stick to a certain group as well. And obviously, if you want to get into different groups, you need to expand your horizons 100%. And go and speak to different people. So yeah, the power of networking is massive. How do you think networking's contributed to your career at the moment? I
would say most of my business is through networking. Now, it's not a case people don't go to these more networking events going, I've got a deal, I need a mortgage broker. It doesn't work like that. But what they do is they'll speak to you, they understand what you do, they'll see you regularly, and then in the future they might need you, or they might have a friend that needs you. Yeah. I get a lot of referrals from people who've met me at events. I don't do sales pitches as such, but they just remember me, they've seen I've been there, they've seen the Instagram, they've seen the content, and it all ties into one then, doesn't it? Yeah. That what you said then was really interesting about people might not always need you at that time. So the importance of emphasizing the importance of people networking with people, but them not always needing you then, but they might need you in the future. Yeah. So, because we found that now with any client or in any like sales role, the client might not need you at that point, but to still stay relevant. Still be interested though. Yeah. Don't just switch off because they don't need they could say, I've got a mortgage. I'm dealing with another broker right now. If you suddenly switch off and disengage because you hear that, then more fool you, because speak to them, offer them any advice and help. If that broker then messes up, they know that you exist and they'll come back to you. On my phone, I get messages all the time. Hey, we met 6 months ago at an event. I need your help now. And that's great. Yeah. And one of my kind of superpowers, as it were, is I've got a really good memory. Okay. So I'm good at going, oh yeah, we spoke about your cat or whatever. And people are always like, oh yeah, you remember that? I was like, yeah, of course, you told me. So. Yeah, because I don't like cats. I don't like cats. It was memorable. No, that is a really good point though, because I signed a client the other month and they had another agency working on their paid ads. And they then came back to me because we worked with them for social media. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you mentioned that you did paid ads. Can we move forward with you now? And it was like, it wasn't the right time for them then, but it is the right time now. So it's just staying relevant. So how do you stay relevant? I stay relevant. Good. I mean, look, I think in my little industry, the niche that I'm in, it's quite small. It's quite a small niche. I am up to date what's going on. I have been called, and it sounds cringe saying it now, a thought leader in the industry, because it's not cringy. Because I do put myself out there. I think because I'm not based in London where all the big deals are. It's a small firm, so volume is quite small. I do go a bit extra on socials to get my name and my voice out there. I understand that it's part of what I do. So because of that, people do respect what I say and what I think. Yeah. And then stay relevant. It's a case of asking the audience what they need and what they want. Yeah, I think you're really good at that. You're really good at creating content. I want you to tell me about your content strategy. There is no strategy. I'll get into moods right now as we're recording. Yeah. I'm in a bit of a content creation streak. I think I've done 5 videos in 4 days. Yeah. For me, it's record, edit, upload. I don't want to watch myself back too much because then I'll get way too overanalytical. Then I'll do stuff while I'm in the office. I hate doing those. They take longer than the ones that are off the cuff. Yeah. I'd rather just record, go, done. Yeah. But there's no strategy. There's no Monday mortgage updates or this and that. I don't want to get into getting my time taken up by regular routines. By content. And do you know what? That's one of the biggest things in content, because obviously everyone now knows to stay relevant and to stay up to date, you have to be posting on social media. And that's probably one of the worst things as well because of time. When I set the agency up, I didn't post at all. And that was me as a social media agency owner not using my social media because I didn't need to. It's so weird, isn't it? A lot of agency owners, I've noticed, this doesn't include you, by the way, they don't have a following or don't have an engagement. So they can't show themselves as proof of concept, which is weird. I think the difference with what we do is that I've had businesses prior. So when it comes to creating content like Gym Law, I was the face of Gym Law. So I used to create content for that. So why I didn't then decide to be the face of Aventus earlier on, but I think it was because I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket of all these different businesses and having a face to everything. Yeah. I'm only one person. I can't be everywhere. Good question. When is Gym Law having a men's range? A men's range? Maybe in yellow. Do you know what the worst thing is? Everyone has asked me this. Everyone says to me, when is Gym Law launching a men's range? And when I launched the brand, originally, it was going to be a men's brand.
But then I was like, I don't want to be spending £100 on sets. I got selfish and was like, this needs to be for me. My dad's got loads of it. I got loads of stuff made for my dad, and he's the only person that reps it.
Okay. Well, me and Tej would definitely like a top thanks.
I will. I say this. I'll put it up.
Size D for dad bod.
D for dad bod. You don't even have a dad bod.
Anyways.
We discuss this all the time. Dad bods are the best, you know.
I've heard.
I've heard. So you've thrown me off topic now. Okie dokie. So, social media, obviously creating content. What were you, I'm trying to think how to put this. So when you first started posting on social media, did you just go for it? Was there any any fear?
Yes. So to be fair, Tej, actually, I mean, our mutual friend Tej, he kind of pushed me and said, look, Shaz, you've got to do your brand, get posting. For the first 2 years, I didn't put my face out there really that much.
Yeah.
So unless I was on a podcast, I wouldn't post a video, just talking. So it was carousels and graphics, but I enjoy it. Again, I've done graphics and stuff in uni. So that was it. It was just text-based graphical posts with some nice visuals. But then more recently, I realized, I was getting told, Shaz, people need to see you. They want to see you, your body language, the way you speak and all this kind of stuff. So then I started doing videos and reels, and it's been great. The engagement's been good. Like everyone else, you do overanalyze yourself. But one thing that someone else told me was, it wasn't to me directly, it was to everyone. It was like, get over yourself, because no one cares what you look like, what you sound like. As long as the content is valuable and good, that's what matters.
It is. I think if you look at Instagram a year ago or even 2 years ago, it was all about how you looked on Instagram. It was all like the most aesthetic influencers, whereas now influencers are called creators. So you are technically the 2023 influencer.
I'm a creator, yeah. Follow me on Threads.
Follow me on Threads. What's your handle?
Obviously, it's wheresshaz on all platforms, guys, just so you know.
What are your views on Threads?
Okay, so I haven't used Twitter in like 15 years. So Twitter, it was hard and slow. Threads just seems so easy just to get on with it because it links in with Instagram. You could reshare stuff back and forth quite easily. Yeah. And everyone's obviously on a hype, so it seems great. And also you can just brain dump. There's less having to have the perfect post. It's a case of what is in my mind right now, post it and don't
post
care.
it. Yeah. Why do you think they introduced Threads?
Because, well, the official answer they gave on an interview actually was that because Twitter is up in the air right now with Elon Musk back and forth, it's the perfect time. But, chances are they just want more of your data, more of your information to get marketing. I
realised the other day though, I used to go to Twitter, write a quote, stick it on Twitter, screenshot it, stick it on Instagram. And now they've literally just taken that idea.
And it's so easy to do, isn't it? You just share the feed or share the story.
Genius.
It's crazy.
Everyone was using Twitter for quotes to post on Instagram. I was like, that is absolutely genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think Threads is going to be a big thing. And also it's really good for repurposing content. So like any of your old captions that you've put, like motivational captions. You've done it.
Yeah.
You're such a creator.
I did it as a thread. And I'm calling it sewing. When you post, I'm calling it like sewing threads. That's what it's going to be called, surely.
Sewing threads?
Or knitting.
Yeah, it would make sense, doesn't it? Because they've got like that.
Yeah, they've got the,
How do we explain that on like Spotify? Okay, so how do you think social media has contributed towards like your confidence?
That's a very good question, Abby, actually. I don't think it has. I think for me, I hate the word, I want to be authentic and genuine. Yeah. So I've got this close circle of friends or people. I say, look, if I ever post something that you think just isn't me or I'm fishing for likes or anything like that, just tell me straight away.
Yeah.
And they're like, of course, we will. Don't worry. So because there's nothing worse than like, let's say people see you on social media, follow you, talk to you, even interact with you. And then when they meet you, you're completely different. You're dead. You got no banter, nothing about you. Having that disconnect would be the worst thing in the world. Yeah. So I think how it's helped me is that it's helped me put my personality out there. Yeah. And then when people do meet me, they are like, oh, you're exactly the same. And that's, to me, that's a compliment because it means I've been myself.
Yeah, I think that's something that we really want to push on this year. Like I wanted to be able to put my personality out there on social media.
Yeah, the good and the stuff that you think maybe isn't so good, just the weird stuff, like, because people will link and resonate with that. Like,
like getting chased by a peacock.
Yeah.
I think I think social media today has to be authentic, but authentic in a way that people can relate to you and your personality and not just being, I'm going to say, a good looking face and someone that's doing really well. There needs to be more to you. For
substance.
Yeah.
And going back to Threads, maybe that's where Threads will help because it's not as heavy on images. Yeah. It is just mind dumping. You can see the life versus the lifestyle on Instagram. Yeah. But yeah, I've met a few people on off of social media. And then when I met them, they're completely different to how they are online, and it's a bit tragic.
It is hard though, because I think people feel like they need to be a certain person online when they don't. They just need to be themselves.
Be yourselves.
People overthink it all the time. All the time. Okie dokie. So Phoebe's trying to airdrop me something.
Just giving in the moment feedback.
Okay, so going into business.
Yes.
I put a poll up yesterday and I was like, because obviously we're going to start doing lives and you're holding yourself accountable now because you're going to do a live with me next week.
100%.
So I was like, what do people want me to cover? Social media, personal branding or business? And the amount of people that want personal branding and business. So I thought, okay, so that's what we're going to cover now.
Yes.
Personal branding and business. So first of all, personal brand, expand on that. How do you feel it? Where's Shaz is your personal brand now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So I think personal brand for me, or brand in general, is what people say when you're not in the room, or when they know you're not gonna hear it. It's what they talk about you behind your back, right? That's your brand. How it's helped me is that, again, if I look at sales and lead generation, because that's the business we're in. At the end of the day, the people who come, I have probably less clients than other big brokerage firms, but the clients that come to me because they've come to me because of my personal brand are a lot stronger. They want to work with me.
Yeah.
Half the battle is done. So they don't care about my fees. They don't care. They're happy to wait for a week for a phone call, which never happens. I'm really responsive.
So you don't need to do the back and forth.
All that stuff is done because they've seen the content. They've had referral, word of mouth, whatever. They want to work with Shaz. And that's it. So that's how personal brand has helped, is that I become the authority, the person to speak to, the go-to person. And my DMs are always like, I've been told to speak to you. I've been told to speak to you. I heard you on this podcast, heard you on that.
Yeah.
And it's great, and that's it. So for me, personal brand is yourself, but there is a risk in that. I'm not sure how it works with you. It's like, so I've built the personal brand up, set the business up. I want the business to be its own thing.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't even post on the business page because I don't want it to be my tone of voice and my thing coming across. But then that business page generates nothing.
Yeah.
I generate everything.
Yeah.
Really, I want that to be scaling up as well.
Yeah, I think this also comes to if you were to say sell the business down the line, and that was my big fear with Aventis, was putting my face to the brand. And then when it comes to say whatever my future plans are with the business, if I'm not there, is there still a business? I think that was one of my biggest fears. But I think something you've just made a really good point on is the fact you don't have to prove yourself as much when you grow your personal brand and people do establish you as a thought leader. Because since I started building my personal brand in December, I have not had to do half the things I had to do last year.
Yeah.
We're trying to prove to people that you can get them results, or prove to them that they need to buy into you. It's done for you.
Can I also just share something again on Threads? Because we're back on Threads. It's just so relevant. This is such a 2023 topic. I posted something about, I think I've got an advert in the gym, on the gym TV screens. It says,
you yourself? Is it just where's Shaz in the gym?
It hasn't got my picture on it, but it says like, are you even a property investor of Shaz? It's just an advert, right? Where's Shaz? And there's nothing on it. It just says Instagram page, where's Shaz?
Yeah.
So I put that picture on Threads, and this guy commented, I know him, he's like a marketing guy. He's like, oh, so what's the ROI on that? Is that your brand or is that you get leads? I was like, just brand really, it just helps get the name across. People in the gym kind of know me now that I'm that guy. He's like, so do you not follow the 80-20 rule? And I know what it means.
Yeah.
And honestly, in the moment, because it is, I was like, no, and actually, I don't do any call to actions ever.
Yeah.
I don't do any like, here, call me on this and that. And I was like, I've been doing it long enough now that my clients and my prospects from years ago, they're now prospecting for me. So it's so hands off, the whole lead gen thing, that your existing clients should be generating new business.
Yeah.
And now that's the ideal place to be.
I actually think it's really clever for somewhere to use the gym, because if that's somewhere that you're there a lot, people can instantly put a face to the name anyway for what you actually do.
So there was this, I don't think you know her, there's this gym influencer girl there.
Gym influencer girl.
Georgie Rose, I'm not sure if you follow her.
Oh no, I'm not sure.
So it took me 6 months to build up the courage and say, hey, I love your content.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Georgie, you don't know me, but I love your content. And she's like, oh my God, thanks so much. And sorry, just, what's your name? I was like, oh, I'm Shaz, I'm on the screens. And she's like, of course I know who you are. And that was great.
See, and sure, if anyone's looking for advice from you, then they don't even need to look online.
Yeah.
You're there.
Everywhere.
No, everywhere. Where's Shaz? In the gym. No, that is such a big thing though. I think that is something that I've been to the gym once in the last 3 weeks. It's probably not the best place for me to put my face. I'm going to have a think.
All right, okay.
Nando's.
Nando's. Yeah.
We'll stick it outside. Okay, so when it comes to personal branding, what would be your top 3 tips then? Because have smashed your personal brand. So what are your top 3 tips for people?
First of all, thank you. And the first thing is just be yourself. Like
Yeah.
it's because if you try and put on a facade or a character, it's just so hard to maintain it
Yeah.
over a longer time horizon. So yeah, be yourself. 2 is, I think, be opinionated about certain things, and not in a way to get controversy. But if you have an opinion about something
Yeah.
and it's valuable to your audience, don't be scared of sharing it. Like I've been posting a few things recently where I'm just like quite passionate about certain topics, and nothing to do with mortgages.
Yeah.
They're completely off topic about business, but they're my personal views. And it works because people know the real you then.
Yeah.
And the 3rd tip is same just in social media in general, is be consistent and show up.
Yeah.
You know, having said that, I go through phases like, because I try like social media doesn't control my life, if I'm honest. So I can go for weeks without posting.
Yeah.
And then the week after I'll post 5 times. So that works for me, but figure out what your routine is and what will work for you.
What works for you? No, I completely agree with that. I think I always push on consistency, but I think it's really it's hard to outsource your personal brand. It's hard
I would never do it.
Yeah, because you lose that connection. So then it's trying to be consistent, but also being busy, and trying to manage it all at once, and it is difficult.
Yeah.
So, but you do it really well.
The other thing I'm always conscious of with social media is like, say I'm here today. I'm here today. If I post about this right now in the moment and it's on Instagram, and then my clients see it and like, oh, that's why you're not in the office. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always quite wary of being too away from the office because work needs to be done.
So do you feel guilty?
Yes and no. Yes, because obviously work needs to be done, but I'm very good at my time.
Yeah.
I'll find an hour and get stuff done. Plus, my admin in the office is amazing. So
Yeah. When it comes to the business side, then obviously, so how many years have you had the business now?
well, we only opened in August, just gone.
Oh my gosh! Congratulations.
Thank you, and I've been nominated for British Entrepreneur of the Year. Just do you want to mention that? Like,
Shaz has
Stephen
been
Bartlett
nominated.
calls it the Grammys of entrepreneurship,
So, where Shaz has been nominated for the Grammys of entrepreneurship,
according to Stephen Bartlett.
according to Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah, other awards also exist.
Oh my gosh. You're so dramatic, right? No, I am. I'm so proud of you. You've absolutely smashed it. So, how are you finding running the business?
Good, because the 2 years prior, when I was still self-employed, that was the foundation building of everything. So that was me get my name out there, so on and so forth. So when I set up my own business, all of that reputation and those clients just came with me. There was no risk really from my end.
Yeah.
The upside was I could have my own brand, do my own kind of posting, do my own logos and everything else, more control, more freedom, and just more time to look at my own vision of what I want to see going forward.
Amazing. How did you find delegating?
I'm okay with it because the tasks I delegate, I don't like doing them.
Yeah.
So admin, I can do it. I have done it, but for me, I find it tedious and not a good use of my time.
Yeah.
So for me to delegate that is great. I love it.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I think delegate. Some people really struggle with it, though, don't they?
They do, and I think I've probably been guilty of that when I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
But now I get it because you can't be amazing at everything.
And you got to value your time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Well, I feel like there's so much we should cover, but something I do want to cover is the event.
The event.
The event.
Okay.
Because obviously we've discussed events in the past.
We have.
But are we going to put an event on this year?
Oh, your whole tonality's changed. This is amazing. Let's do an event, Abigail.
I can't stick it on. If it's on the podcast, it has to get done.
Right, okay.
So.
Well, sorry. You know where I was staying yesterday in Manchester?
Yeah.
So the hotel managers were my clients, very kindly let me stay. And then we caught up in the morning. And I was like, yeah, I'm recording with Abby in the morning. And we're looking to do an event. He goes, oh yeah, you said that on your podcast, didn't you?
Yeah.
So everyone knows that it's happening.
That there's going to be an event. Okay, so I'm going to say to be confirmed date, November.
November works for me.
November works. Okay. So we will confirm everything that we're going to cover. But before we obviously close this off, I want to know exactly.
Yes.
Would you do anything different if you were to start your journey again?
Yes, I would do everything a lot earlier on.
Earlier on?
Simple as, yeah. I think, and I speak to a lot of younger people now as well who want to get into business. And so I speak to people, for example, I spoke to someone who wants to be a mortgage broker and work with me. And I'm like, look, do you think you work hard? She's like, yeah, of course I do. I work, 9 to 5, put all the hours in, I work very hard. Have you got a good work ethic? Yes, I have. Okay, fine. So I was like, and obviously based on your current salary, but if you took that work ethic and working hard and all those hours, and the exact same time into something that earns you more money, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I get that. But do you think earlier on you'd have been in the same position to have the same mindset that you do now?
No. One thing networking has helped me with is to be connected with a lot of, I guess, bigger thinking people.
Yeah.
So the circles I'm in, I'm happy that I'm always learning from different people. Like, there's a reason I travel 2 hours to Birmingham to see, Adam, for example. Like, because his dynamic is, I can learn so much from him. Or if I go to London to see people, I don't care if I'm only seeing 2 people at that particular dinner, whatever. It's just everyone's got something else to give. And
yeah, definitely. The power of networking. So can you share with me your success story?
Of course. My success story or someone else's?
Tej's success story.
Tej's success story, yes. So, yeah, our mutual friend Tej. So he won't mind me sharing this because he's written a whole book about it, which I'm part of. So I'm actually a best-selling author as well. I've got 3 pages. That counts, doesn't it? Surely.
That does count. 3 pages?
Yeah.
How small's the book? I'm joking.
It's a massive book. So, Tej Singh from London chose to invest in South Wales. And he was struggling working with professionals. The kind of person that he is, he's very direct. He'll give you feedback there and then, he wants stuff done. Lovely guy, but business-wise, it's like, just get it done, or if I'm annoyed, I'll cut you off.
Yeah.
And he was buying properties using other people's money or bridging finance, or what no one was involved. It was just cash, right? But when you buy these properties and you renovate them, add the value, you eventually have to get a mortgage at some point.
Yeah.
Now, he had been speaking to a few different brokers who do what I do. And you should have seen him online at the time. He'd be like, I hate mortgage brokers. They're the worst. These guys, they don't know what they're doing. And da. Now, we were speaking then, I wasn't trying to be his broker, but just I'm friendly. I was like, okay, what do you know? If you want any help from me, just let me know, whatever. And then he was like, okay, you know what? My broker's doing my head in. Let's me and you work there. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
He then has now bought 15 properties over 9 months. In South Wales, look, you can buy a whole street for 25 pence in Wales.
25 pence.
But no, fair play. So he's bought that many properties in South Wales, scaled it up. Now, he still hates mortgage brokers. I think he tolerates me.
He tolerates you. He loves you.
No, we get on really well. But by using the right professionals, the right... Like, bear in mind, he lives in London.
Yeah.
And the properties are 2.5 hours in Wales. But having the right team, so the right estate agent, the right builders, the right plumbers if things go wrong, the right mortgage professionals if you need your financing, he's managed to scale. And like, as much as he says online sometimes, I hate property's dead, you can bet yourself that cash flow that he gets from those rental properties allows him to do what he wants to do with his life now.
Yeah, definitely. When you just touched on estate agents, then I hate estate agents. I hate them.
Can you share how's your...
It's horrific.
Okay.
It's absolutely horrific. In fact, I was on the phone yesterday to 5 different estate agents. Phoebe documented the whole thing. And by the end of the day, I think she thought, oh, I wouldn't mess with her today.
Oh, God.
Because honestly, do you know what it is? I'm guessing it'll be similar to Tej and mortgage brokers. People don't care. You care because you're passionate.
People are very transactional.
Yes.
But it's weird, though, because they also need to realise they don't get paid till the deal goes ahead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you think they'd be more incentivized, but they're not because they're working for someone else. End of the day, I couldn't... there is a disconnect. I think the American model is better. In America, they get paid a lot more.
Yeah.
So the incentives are a lot higher to get deals done.
Yeah.
What about solicitors? What do you think of solicitors?
So I've had a good experience with solicitors. I have.
Oh, wow.
I have had a good experience, but I've not had a good experience with estate agents. I'm just going to stick on them for now because
maybe you could be the change, Abby. Maybe that could be the next.
See, maybe I should have continued. I did get my law degree, but maybe I should have stayed in that field. No, I'm joking. I'd have hated that. I would have. No, but so with estate agents, I put an offer in last week on 2 properties for Airbnb.
Yeah.
Didn't hear anything back. Chased them like 4 times.
Why are you having to chase to help them make
offers,
money?
Yeah, chasing to then speak to one of them yesterday for both properties and say, oh well, I've not heard back from them, but they won't accept that. They're stuck at a certain figure.
So you've not heard back from them, but you were just making a decision on their behalf.
So I said, you've not heard back, so I'm going to wait until you've heard back. And he was like, oh, okay. Do you need me to run your business? Then obviously I'm buying a house for myself. That has been an absolute nightmare.
I would have thought you'd have the keys by now.
It's been a nightmare. So instead I applied for a rental last week. I thought I'm going to rent until I get the keys through. Applied for the rental last Tuesday. Haven't heard anything since. Rang yesterday to see if there was an update. The person who's dealing with it is off. Okay, so does business stop? Or because on my watch, business doesn't stop when people are off. It's a nightmare.
I mean, what's the reason, do you think? Or how can people change this?
I think in the property space, so estate agents, I don't think people are incentivized enough.
It's true. And I asked about solicitors because commonly people complain about solicitors being slow and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Solicitors take on way too much work because they don't charge enough for the work they do.
Yes.
So as much as we complain, the amount of responsibility they have to get the documents correct, they should be charging double. And I'm sure people would be happy to pay double
if it got done.
And they communicate to you twice a week with an email.
Honestly, so buying the house I'm buying for myself at the moment, I've not had an update in like 3.5 weeks, but they've rang me 3 times for an update. But I'm waiting for an update from them. So I dealt with that this morning where they rang me and they were like, oh, I'm looking for an update. And I said, no, I'm looking for an update from you.
I mean, a mortgage brokers, just to kind of put it back to my context, the most common mistake I hear from investors around mortgage brokers is that they're slow, they ghost me, don't call me back.
Yeah.
And the other one I hear often, and this makes me laugh, is that when I was giving them big deals, they were very happy to help. Now I'm doing a smaller deal, they don't want to know.
They don't want to know.
That's really bad because it all counts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It all adds up. And I think that's how people can expand their businesses as well.
And also, look, the way I look at it is, I could do a £1 million deal for an investor in London and make a lot of money once. Or I could do 10 deals for someone doing 50 grand stuff in Wales.
Yeah.
They'll do a £1 million deal eventually.
Yeah, they'll get there.
That's how they scale up.
And you've built that relationship up until then. So why are you different?
Because I care. I think generally I do care a lot about everything. But I care. I'm very passionate. And I think I have the skill or whatever of rapport building.
Yeah.
So as much as it's transactional, it's business, people realize I do care about the end goal.
Yeah.
End of the day, no matter what lenders are doing, no matter what surveyors, blah, 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 we're trying to help people buy houses. End of the day, and that's what matters, right?
Do you think as well, it's kind of the disconnect and trying to bring people together where that's an issue?
It is. And it doesn't help that land registries are really archaic, and a lot of the processes in the back end for property buying are very old school. A lot of tech needs to be put into that infrastructure, but different topic altogether. So it doesn't help. But I think there is a lot of estate agents don't want to speak to mortgage brokers. Mortgage brokers don't really like speaking to solicitors.
Yeah.
There's not really unity within that.
Can you expand on mortgage rates right now, please? Can you fix them?
Can I sort them out?
Yes, please.
Yes, I will speak to Jeremy Hunt now.
Thank you.
So rates are high. I mean, it is what it is.
What do you mean high? They're literally, I can't reach.
No, you know what? I laugh. It is worrying for people on residential mortgages.
Yeah.
You may not feel the impact right now, but when you come off your fixed rate in 6 months to a year, your payments will literally double.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that. And you have to think how you're going to cope. As we're recording, there are a few measures to help people. You can go on interest only for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Or you can make your mortgage longer for a few months. But these are temporary 6-month measures. We're in for a tough time for a year or two at least.
It scares me.
Yeah.
It does. It scares me for other people. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously people...
It is worrying. I've had a lot of phone calls, people just concerned about what are my options. And I'm like, literally, those are the 2-3 things you can do.
What would you advise people to do with their... what would you advise first-time buyers to do?
If you've seen the perfect property and you've got yourself emotionally attached to it, which is the worst thing you can do to a house, right?
Yeah.
If you've got the deposit and the numbers work and you can still afford it and you really want to buy it, then crack on and buy it.
Yeah.
But if your situation allows you to still live at home or rent, I would personally hold off. The benefit of that is you can still build up your deposit whilst you're waiting for rates to settle.
Yeah.
And I think the key word is settle. They're not going to go down to what they were before, but I think they will settle down to a bit more of a reasonable level.
Yeah.
And I think people forget, and maybe this is more of a cultural thing that, for example, Asian people, they live with their parents till they're 35. And that's just normal.
Yeah.
If you're in that situation, appreciate that a lot more now because it's a lot easier to do it now. Yeah,
definitely. I would love that as well. I'd love to bring all my family under one roof.
Yeah, get a massive house.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd just buy next door. We'll knock through.
Oh, just like planning permission?
Yeah, my mum and dad are divorced, but I couldn't. I'd buy 2 separate houses, knock through, and they'd just have to get on.
You'd have a west wing and a
Sounds like jail, doesn't it?
No, sounds like Drake's mansion. Anyway.
The difference. It would probably feel like jail if I put them back together. No, they do get on. They're friends. They're great. Okay, so would you advise then because I've got a lot of first-time buyers in my audience, would you advise them to rent as opposed to buy at this moment in time? I know you've said about staying at home if they can.
Yes, I mean, look, you don't have to own a property to have a home. Yeah. You still make it your own place. You can decorate it. And in the short term right now, it's more achievable. Having said that, rents are quite high
Rent
as
is
well.
high, yeah.
Rent's higher than a mortgage, but it means you've got to put a lump sum deposit down.
Yeah.
So it depends on that situation. Do you have savings to put a deposit down
Yeah.
or not? So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think we're in that time now where we'll see this generation of homeowners in 20 years. They'll probably be loving the fact that rates are going down in that time. So
Yeah. My mum was on 1.44%.
oh, not for long.
She was like, my mortgage will be paid off by then. I was like, ha, brilliant. We're just getting started.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in this like combat where it'll just be going like backwards and forth. But it's like uni debt as well.
Yeah.
It's the same interest rate.
I have paid off a student loan last year, finally. Finally, yes.
See, they always say you won't notice it coming out your bank. Did you notice it?
Well, it's different when you're self-employed. You have to pay a chunk every year, right?
So you notice it,
So
don't
you notice
you?
it a lot. You're like, hang on,
Literally.
corporation tax, income tax, and what's this? Student loan?
Yeah.
Like, but I paid it off now, so.
Oh, just rub it in. I'm just getting started. No, honestly, when I paid the first lump sum, I was like, sorry, what? I logged onto my tax.
Yeah.
And it was like a nice amount. And then I logged on again to pay it. And it was completely different. And I was like,
I said to my accountant, I was like, are you sure this is the right figure? She's like, yeah, this is what you owe. I was like, oh my God.
my accountant had missed it off originally. That's why when I re-logged back on, I was like, so that's another thing. What's your thoughts on accountants?
I think accountants, I think that they're fine, but I think you
If
need
you found the right one.
Yeah, and also like, for example, if you're doing property, then find a property tax specialist.
Yes.
It's about specialists, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For example, the example I tend to use is like if you had a toothache, you wouldn't go to a doctor, you go to a dentist.
Yes.
Even though they're both medical professionals.
Yeah.
So you figure out the right specialist for what you need.
That's something I struggled with. I think it was you that actually said to me, you need an accountant that doesn't just do data entry.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was you that said that to me.
It sounds like something I would say.
It does sound something like that. Because my old accountant was dead old school.
Yeah.
And I'm coming at them with a social media agency and they're like,
That's not going to work, is it?
they're like, you do what? You make money online? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
but I didn't understand the difference that you don't just need to stick with that one person if it's not working.
And that's it. Don't be afraid to work with a different professional if it doesn't serve you. So even if it's your mortgage broker, if I can't do something for you or whatever, then find someone who can. Like, it's end of the day, it's your business that you're running. So
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I have absolutely loved catching up with you.
Thanks for having me.
No, I have. I've loved catching up with you. And I can't wait to do this again. I think we book this in for a year's time to see where you are,
Fine.
what you've achieved. And because I know you're going to absolutely smash it.
Awesome. Maybe we'll have some white sofas then.
We'll have some white sofas because we're rebranding, guys. And we'll be on our second event.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Keep it accountable.
Oh my gosh, yes, let's do it.
Do it.
Let's do it.